What is good? What is good, everybody? Happy Wednesday, guys. I hope you're all off to a beautiful week. Hope you guys are crushing your goals, living your dreams, and having fun in the fucking process. So, today's episode, we're going to be going into me. So, I'll start with Jordan. Jordan, how are you doing today?
Blessed beyond belief, brother. It's been a good day. I'm happy to be here yet again with my brothers. Excited for this episode. It's gonna be juicy. Ross, how you feeling, my brother?
I'm feeling excellent. It's been a very productive day. I'm excited to really get into Joey's life. He is the last but not least out of us three that needs to metaphorically spill the beans. So I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be interesting. It's always great to get to know you guys. And every one of these episodes that we do, we get to know you just a little bit more, but this one's going to be a lot more. So,
Yeah.
with that being said, Joey, before you get started, how are you?
I'm doing amazing today. I'm blessed. I'm happy. Definitely found some peace this past weekend, and very grateful for that. And yeah, couldn't be more grateful today.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, only knowing Joey for how many months now? What are we at? When was that? October,
September, I
right?
think. September,
September.
October.
Maybe it's September. Well, it's been, we'll say, 4, maybe 5 months at this point. Um, it's nice to see how far people can come in a short period of time. Jordan's obviously known Joey a lot longer. So, with that being said, if I can see somebody grow a lot in a short period of time, I can't even imagine what it is like being inside your head and everything that you've been through to end up where you are today and becoming the man that you are today on this day, February 18th, 2026. So let's kind of just rewind. We're going to be doing a massive rewind, and you and I are Jersey boys, Jersey strong, dirty Jersey, use guys, whatever you want to say about us, but we say it how it is. And typically, we've been through some shit, and then some. Which, if it doesn't keep you down, it only makes you stronger. And it's about your reaction in life, the most important. So let's really rewind the tape on this one and go back to you, all the way back when you were born. Let's talk about where you came from, how you were brought up, what your family looked like, and the floor is all you. Take it away.
Let, let's go. Let's go. So I was born May 12th, 1995. Those of you guys that want that information, there you have it. I was born a twin. I have a twin sister that was born with me. She was a minute older. So never lived that down my whole life, of course. I'm the baby of the family. Also have an older sister who is 7 years older than us. And yeah, basically was born very small, ironically enough, because I'm not a small man. And I think I was 4 pounds, 8 ounces, something crazy like that. I was a preemie. So I think when I was born, I might have been in the NICU for a little bit. And then we got out, we were good. And yeah, basically the first major life thing to happen was when I was 2 years old. My parents got a divorce. So that was the start of, I guess you could say, the trauma, even though I wasn't aware of it. I didn't know what the fuck was going on back then. I have zero recollection to that moment. Um, but yeah, my mom caught my dad on the pool table of our basement. So that was pretty crazy with a 15-year-old, by the way. So that was the start of, I guess you could say, everything. And then I think it was when I was about 3 years old, my stepdad moved in, and he was from Brazil. My mom did marry the painter. So he was literally painting houses and basically doing stuff like that down the street. She met him and he moved in relatively quickly. And they were married, I think, by the time I was 5. So early recollection of everything. I remember like the earliest memory I think I actually have was the day. I don't know if it was the day my dad was officially leaving, but I remember we were giving him a snow globe and I dropped it on the ground. It broke. And that was the first memory I think I have, was basically of like not being able to give him the snow globe. He was going to move into a different apartment. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And I don't know if I was 3, I don't know if I was 5. I don't even remember what age I was at that time, but that was like the first real memory I remember having, was like him leaving. Then from there, life was pretty easy. You know, we had my stepdad in the house. From my younger recollection, he was great. No issues there at first. I remember he was really dope. Like we had really good times with him back then, and just never really anything bad, at least I thought, happened. So I swam from the time I think I was like 5 or 6 competitively. I think it was 6 years old was the earliest you could swim competitively. And that was how I started. And I basically, yeah, I did competitive swimming for probably about 5 or 6 years. We were really good at it when I was like really young. I was on a team that the coaches literally were from the Olympics and shit, and that was just like very intensive training the whole night. Like when I was a fucking baby, basically. So that was why now I'm a fucking fish in the water. And then from there,
Real quick, Joey. So,
yeah,
from what you're saying, you were doing competitive swimming at an age that's so young.
yeah,
And I want to stop you in your tracks right there, because that's not normal. Like that's really not normal. I'm saying that in a good way, right?
yeah.
Against the grain, but like, have you noticed like, or did you ever kind of reflect back, like what even was the start of that? Or like most kids are standing on the side of the pool freaking out, or they have to be monitored by their parents and they're wearing swimmies and shit. And
Yep.
you're not only swimming, you're swimming competitively with probably some pretty assertive coaches. Like how, and like, how is this, how did it even transpire? And like, what do you think it's began to apply to your life and your upbringing? Because that's pretty important.
So I think my mom worked, right? Like after she divorced my dad, she had to be the breadwinner of the house. And she was working as a senior VP of an engineering firm back then. And she would work every day until about, it was either 3 to 5 o'clock, probably about 5 o'clock back then. And I'm pretty sure that had something to do with it, right? Like first we did ballet because it fit the time slot. So like literally I remember my mom, this was, I think even before swimming, she put me when I was like 4 or 5 in ballet classes. And I wore the leotard once and I was like, what the fuck is this? I'm so good off this. And that was that. And then after that, yeah, she signed us up for swimming. So my mom was always a big swimmer herself. Like she literally swims laps to this day. And I was probably thrown into a pool by like 2 years old. Like I was probably a toddler, honestly, swimming. You know what I mean? Like literally before I could walk, I probably was already in the pool. So that's how, like, my sister's doing the same thing with my niece right now. That's kind of how our family is, and just gets us accustomed to being in water from the time we're very young. So yeah, I think that was probably something along the lines of it fit the schedule, give us some extracurricular after preschool or kindergarten, whatever it was back then. And it probably just worked with the schedule of everything, that so my mom could still work and we were good. So yeah, that was like the first young thing to happen.
That's really cool, because I've noticed something, that there is a direct correlation with confidence throughout people's lives. Any kids that I see that are really confident swimmers, ridiculously young, as you see them grow up, they're typically a little bit more outgoing, a little bit more competitive, a little bit more like tough as nails, kind of mentally, because that's a pretty big feat to overcome so young, when most honestly don't know their ass from their elbows. Let's just face it. you know.
Yeah. And I was nasty. Like I used to get first place all the time when I was little. Like I was very, very, very good when we were young. And then obviously, like as I got older, we still swam competitively in high school, but that was like not with the high school team. That was just like a summer league. And by then I grew muscles and we were not the best swimmers. So basically, I think that was like 5 or 6, right? Then as we got older, things seemed pretty good. I mean, I would see my dad on the weekends, right? Like every other weekend, we would go see our dad. I remember we would always just go get Chinese food or go to a restaurant, maybe throw around a football, like just small shit like that. And then what age was this? 6th grade or 7th grade, I can't remember the exact year, was when the first real crazy thing happened. So basically, when I was in probably 6th grade, it was either 6th or 7th, I remember like everything's normal, hanging out with my family, we're watching TV, and we get a knock on the door. And with that knock on the door, it was DYFS. DYFS is in New Jersey, I don't know if it's like this in the whole country, but Child Protective Services. And they were at the door because my older sister at the time had just gone into the hospital. She went into the hospital for a eating disorder. She was bulimic. So we didn't know what was going on at the time. I remember obviously she went into the hospital. Like we would go visit her the whole nine. I was still very young, didn't really know exactly what was going on back then. And she went into the hospital, and then we got that knock on the door, and that was when it was like the glass started shattering, I guess you could say. So literally, we had that knock on the door. My mom was freaking the fuck out at them. They're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like I remember it was like a whole big thing when we were little, and they basically said that my stepdad had touched my sister. So that was the issue. That was the first real traumatic thing to happen. So from there, from probably I think it was like 6th or 7th grade up until freshman year, it might have actually, I think it was definitely 6th grade because this was a couple of years of this that happened. We basically had DYFS in our lives and went from going to therapy a couple times with them to we had someone live in our house, like literally had a fucking DYFS representative live in our house and like what's it called, observe the house, see if everything was really good. And then there was just a whole bunch of shit that happened. Like that was when I started getting a little older. 7th grade was probably the first time my stepdad started hitting me. So I remember I was like, there'd be times where I'd had an ex-girlfriend at the time. I'd be on the phone with her and he would just come and just start beating the shit out of me. Like I don't even know, like maybe I would do something wrong, something like that. And there were a couple of times where like literally I remember one time I went into the garage like in the middle of the fight and he just came in there and just beat the living shit out of me, and fucking my ex-girlfriend heard the entire thing. And like I had like fucking cuts on my mouth, like the whole nine, and that was just fucking crazy. So basically from I don't know if it was 6th grade, 7th grade, something along that time, that was when it started. That was when like the alcoholism started with him. At least I saw it start with him. And that was when things started to turn for the worse. So first it was my sister getting the eating disorder. That must have happened from like 6th grade, something around that time. Then DYFS came in the house. And then from there, he might have even hit me in 6th grade. I don't even remember at this point. But there was something that started there where like the abuse started, we could call it. So I remember there was a time where we were in therapy and my mom bribed us because he had taken away texting at the time. So this was probably like 7th grade, 8th grade, something like that. And weren't allowed to text my ex-girlfriend. And obviously as a kid, I wanted fucking texting. So my mom was like, "Oh, I'll give you texting back if you say that he didn't hit you." So literally we went into therapy, said that they didn't hit us. And then that was it. Everything was good after that. And he stayed in the house. But apparently this is what I was told. I don't know if this is true, but basically he would not get kicked out of the house. We would actually get taken out of the house had we had said that he did hit us or had we had said that the abuse was real. I'm pretty sure that's how DYFS works, is that they wouldn't remove him because that's his house. He lives in the house. He's the adult. They would just remove us in either places with a family member, places in a group home, something along those lines. So we also kind of protected him for that reason. And then the older we got, the worse it got. for years. So like basically, yeah, we had that lady living in the house. I remember there's one time where like we literally had middle of the school day, they like brought us in and we had to go to the police station. It was like this whole big thing. And then they fucking, it was just like craziness for fucking years. Um, Also quick rewind, just like a little side note. When I was, from the time I was like kindergarten to the time I was in sixth grade, I also took speech classes because I couldn't say my R's or my S's. So I used to say Wefku Hiwoth for fucking everything. Like I couldn't say my S's, and because my stepdad was from Brazil and had a really hard accent, he couldn't say his R's. So when I learned R, I would say like ah, like walled. So like I couldn't get it out. So the R I got down really quickly, but the S for whatever reason that speech teacher never got me out. Like she was telling me to say S with my tongue at the top of my mouth. If you guys try to do it like F, like you can't like it gives you a fucking list. I'm like, what the fuck? I think she was trying to keep me in the speech class because I might have been her only kid. But basically, me and my old best friend Ben used to be in speech classes together for years. By the time I got to sixth grade, I met one teacher. She was like, put it at the bottom of your mouth. Like, I did that and it was fixed. It was that simple. So that was like just a little side note that happened. And then that was sixth grade up until probably freshman year of high school. So during this time, I started playing football. Probably sixth grade was fifth grade. I started playing flag, or sixth grade I started playing flag. Seventh, eighth grade, I played tackle football, and that was like my life. Like I love tackle football. I was fucking good at it. Yeah, sixth grade was when I started playing tackle because I remember me and my friend Emmanuel were fucking 123 pounds exactly at the time, and we would both go against each other. And my first time on the field, he fucking laid me out on my ass. And then as we got older, I kept growing and he didn't. And then obviously that would never happen again. So yeah, played football up until freshman year. I played, started wrestling in eighth grade. And throughout this entire thing, eighth grade, I started wrestling. Ninth grade, I started club wrestling and like really getting into wrestling. And then from ninth grade until senior year, I wrestled. And throughout this entire period, like I always say with my stepdad, it was like he would come into the house after work and you were either going to meet the best person in the world or your worst nightmare. Like there was no in between. It all depended on what he drank for the day. Did he get a six pack after it? Did he get a fucking pack of wine? Anything like that. That was basically what happened. So from basically, yeah, sixth grade to high school, that was what we dealt with. The older I got, like there were times where like it was just, it was getting bad. And I remember back then I never fought back. And like that was like a weakness I had back then. At least I thought. So I would never fight back. And then by the time that I was 15, I remember from maybe like freshman year to 15, I think that might be freshman, sophomore year, it kind of slowed down a little bit. Like the hitting wasn't as bad. He kind of chilled out a little bit. And then I remember one time I got my phone taken away for whatever fucking reason. I think about dating a girl at the time, did some stupid shit. Who cares? And he was supposed to give it back to me on a certain day. So when he was supposed to give it back to me, I fucking I went down and I was like, yo, let me get my phone back. And he's like, no. And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean no? And I like snapped back and then I was walking up the stairs. He was sitting on the couch in the living room. And I was walking up the stairs. I talked back to him. I started talking shit. And as I get to my room, he's behind me and he starts fucking screaming in my face and he pushes me on my bed. And when he pushed me on my bed, bro, I literally blacked out. And next thing I know, I woke up or like I came back to it. And we were, mind you, in my room, like I had, my bed was here. I had a fucking, like a little hallway to get here. You had to go out the hallway to get outside of my room. And all I know is I must have spear doubled him or some shit, like literally just picked him up and fucking slammed him on the ground like 10 feet, 5 feet, some shit like that. And all I remember is I'm outside of the room and I'm on top of him and I'm beating the living shit out of him. So this was the first time I fought back. I fucked him up. I wasn't trying to hit him. I was trying to kill him in this moment. Like literally everything in me, I was like, this is the only way out right now. This is the only way to get this asshole out of our lives. So I was just fucking going and going and going. And then I started choking him. So as I started choking him, his fucking eyes started swelling shut. Like literally I saw the blood going into his eyes. And then I don't know how I stopped, got off of him. I'm pretty sure I broke both his orbital bones. Like I fucked him up. And I was only 15 years at the old. And I was only 15 years old at this point. And this is kind of the important part of the story because if I was 16, I would have gone to jail in New Jersey. He didn't have to charge me with anything. I literally, like, he was so fucked up. The police got there and they were like, Jesus Christ. So he went to the hospital and then he didn't press charges at the time. So after that, he didn't touch me. Like, basically, I got all that shit out. He did not touch me. And yeah, basically, that was 15 years old. Then from there, what would happen was he was still alcoholic, right? So he would still get drunk. And now what he would do was he would try to egg me on. So like from 15 to 18 until I left the house, first of all, once I got a car, I was never home. Like I literally I had an ex-girlfriend at the time. I would sleep at her house all the time. I would be out of the house as long as I could. So that was like the first coping mechanism you could say with it when I was younger. And then
you at that time, did you consider your house essentially not a home?
Oh yeah, fuck no. There was no home there. Like, and we grew up in a beautiful house. Like if I showed you guys my house growing up, I always joke and say it was like it looks like we grew up rich, but my mom was struggling the entire time working, trying to put bread on the table. He would bring in 20 to 40,000 a year. That was it. And in New Jersey, our fucking property taxes were probably 15, 20,000 at the year. So my mom basically had to do everything. And yeah, basically it was like a beautiful house, but not a home at all back then. Like you did not want to be in that fucking house. So my older sister throughout this whole time, she ended up moving in with my dad. Then she got older, moved fully out, and she never made it back in that house. My twin sister, me and her were basically in that house, and I was trying to be the protector, and that was it. But like for the most of that period of time, I was just away from it as much as I could. So then we got older, and during this time, this is a big part of the story too. My mom, during 2008, so that was like 2008 was what, 7th grade? My mom got her hours downsized. So that was during the recession. She was working as a senior VP for an engineering firm. They downsized her hours. And then a couple years later, she quit, got a job with PSENG, and basically had to fully turn around her life or change careers. So she ended up working for PSENG after that. And then I had to see her basically from senior VP, secretary, the whole nine, to fucking having to rebuild from almost scratch at a completely new company. So basically from there, as I got older, I ended up getting really into wrestling. I went to wrestling club. I remember there was one time with my stepdad where he picked me up from wrestling club, and I'm pretty sure he was drunk. And we're driving home, and there was a police checkpoint in Roseland. And literally they tried to stop us, and he fucking ran right through the checkpoint. Like literally booked it, went all the way home. Thank God the police didn't come after us. They just were like, yo, what the fuck? And that was it. But probably because he was fucking drunk at the time. So I remember that was like a memory I don't think I'll ever forget. I was fucking terrified at the time. I probably was like right after me beating the shit out of him. So then we got older and ended up getting as I said, very into wrestling. Like my whole life was wrestling for most of high school. So I was like, ended up being the captain of the wrestling team, won 30 matches my senior year, won districts my junior year. Like I was a fucking wrestler and a half. I loved that fucking sport. And I think it was because it was like my first time learning how to defend myself and also just the competition. Like I am extremely competitive. And just like the me versus someone else mentality and it all being me, like it's either I can fucking win or I can lose, and that's up to me. That shit fucking really, really, really phoned home for me. So ended up going to Johnson & Wales to wrestle in college. And after my senior year, my mom ended up getting rid of my stepdad finally. So at first I had came home one time, and this was when my mom was like, yeah, I'm done with this asshole. He's fucking out of the house. At first he was gone, and then I went home from college one day, and for whatever reason, she had him back in the house. So when I'm back from college this weekend, I remember I had my friend over, and when my friend was over, he like some shit happened and my friend left and he was cursing me out or some shit. And basically, he fucking, this was freshman year. After my friend left, he came upstairs, called me fat. And at the time I was fat. I was fucking obese as shit. Like this is when I got really, I probably gained, once I quit wrestling my freshman year after a month because my grades started suffering. And I'm just an all in or out kind of guy. And I learned how to party and I fucking went into that. So basically wanted to party way more than I wanted to wrestle at the time, completely gave it up and went into whatever. So got really fat. Like I was 250 going into college, shredded out of my fucking minds because I literally had a strength and conditioning coach the whole 9 going into college. So like I was fucking giant, probably one of the biggest I've ever been other than maybe now. And then the second I quit wrestling, I started drinking, I started smoking, learned about cocaine, started doing that. And that was the start of I call this part of my life the self-hating and the fucking self-medicating part of my life. So basically that time I went home, he fucking called me fat. My mom looks at me and she's like, well, he's not wrong. And like that shit in that moment broke my heart. I was like, what the fuck? Like, fuck both of you. So after that, he started talking shit. He walked out of the room, kept talking shit. He was downstairs now. And up until now, his game from 15 to now was he was going to get me as mad as I could so I would fight him. And then he would call the cops on me. So we probably had the cops at my house once a week, if not once every other week, for years. Like literally from 15 to then was like the cops knew us fully. And basically from that, that was his game. He would try to egg me on. He would try to get me angry. I would keep my cool or I would fucking scream at him and call the fucking cops or he would call the cops. And this time I was like, I'm fucking done. I'm going to fuck this fucker up right now. So first I punched a hole in my wall in my mom's house. That was the first thing I did. And then the anger just kept going higher. And I fucking went downstairs to go fuck his ass up. And he had a knife in his hand. He had a fucking butcher's knife, like the ones that you cut meat with. So he had that knife in his hand. And I was in my boxers, by the way. This is where we paid the shirtless closer, guys. But I fucking literally ran out of my house. I was living in a condo complex at this time. Ran down the street into a fucking neighbor's, like literally as far as I could get from him, into a neighbor's, banged on one neighbor's door. They didn't answer. Banged on another neighbor's door. They did answer. They opened the door, called the cops, went to the police station, got a restraining order against him, and basically was going to press charges at this point. I was like, I'm fucking so done with this guy. At the time, my mom went with him, fucking drove off in the car with him, and that was that. Like basically, at the time, sided with him. And I never understood this part. Like now I do. I fully understand this part now that I've gone through the self-work. But there's this thing in toxic abusive relationships called battered woman syndrome. And that was the definition of what my mom had. So where from probably 18 to 20, 21, I didn't understand that. And I was angry at my mom. So for at least 2 years, like I would still talk to her, whatever. She would send money to me when I was in college, the whole 9. Like we still would have our relationship. But deep down, I fucking didn't. I was not happy. And then I started like basically from after freshman year, we got our own house in college. And in that house, it was a party house. It was fucking literally across the street from all the fraternities. It was 3 floors with 3 bedrooms on each floor. So it was 9 of us that lived in the house and we were all degenerates. So like we had fucking bongs in the house and all of it. We started smoking weed, started taking Xanax. And that was where I got introduced to Xanax, was in that house. So basically every night at the end of the night, I would fucking rip the bong so hard and get as high as I physically could to go to sleep. And this was when I started telling myself that I would need to smoke to sleep. And basically the higher I got, the less I had to think about. I didn't have to think about the trauma. And yeah, so I basically would smoke every night, at times every day, would not go to class, like literally never went to class. And basically would just take tests for the classes. And that was that. That was sophomore, junior, and senior year. So at the time I was dating one girl, and she, like, I remember there was probably a year where like me and her literally just stayed in the fucking house. During this relationship, so mind you, let me rewind a couple relationships back really quick. A lot of things I noticed I did was I would go into relationships that were very toxic. So the first girl, Brooke, shout out Brooke, met her junior year. This was after my first heartbreak with my first real girlfriend that I had when I was younger. Lost my virginity when I was 13 and shit. And fucking, like, that was like the first serious relationship. But then after this started the real toxic relationships. Like Gabby, I was the toxic one. I fucking cheated on her. I fucking whatever. I just was not like, I just didn't care about much. Then I met Brooke, and she was a year older than me. And I basically would fucking, she was basically dating another guy while she was dating me. So she had an ex-boyfriend that she was still with. And during that relationship, for whatever reason, I just fucking was like she would just lie to me, and I would just be like, try to make it all be cool. So this was the first controlling relationship I was in. When we were in high school, we threw a party at my house. She got mad at me for throwing the party, fucking smacked me one time for like all this stupid shit. After high school, I got rid of her. That was the first toxic relationship. Then went into, I had some stupid relationship like freshman year. I don't even really count that one. But then sophomore year, I met Megan, and Megan was my girlfriend for most of college. So like there was a year where like I was literally in my room. She didn't even smoke, but like I would just be high as fuck all day. We would just like lay in my bed and just eat shitty foods and just fucking, I would smoke, and that was our relationship for a little bit. Like it was just the definition of depression. And I would just lay in that fucking bed. My friends would come in the room. I would order fucking food. I was just disgusting. I literally got up to 285 pounds, and like pure fat, like just like I got fucking stretch marks on my stomach from it, like the whole nine. Like I literally went from being in immaculate shape all throughout high school to being just like a fat fucking lard. I had like a double chin, the whole nine. So during this part of my life, I was just very self-sabotaging. I just really didn't give a fuck about much. And my excuse for everything was I, because my trauma, I fucking smoke weed and I do drugs. And that's just what I do. And that's why I love smoking weed. So literally smoked my life away for years. Then I got introduced to Xanax. At first, Xanax was just a party drug for us. Like we, not even a party drug. Like we would just take it. The first time I ever took it, I literally went to sleep, and that was that. But then the next day, the feeling I had was like, holy shit, I feel fucking great. I feel like Superman. So then we would take it occasionally for a couple years straight. Like this was like on and off. We would call it having a bean night. We'd be like, we're gonna pop a bean tonight. We're gonna fucking chill. We're gonna smoke. I had some girl. I literally was in with Megan. I had a side piece. Like I literally was in toxic ass relationship. She cheated on me at the house. Like we had a party one day. She was blacked out drunk. I ended up finding out they put Xanax in the juice at that party. And she was going to give a kid a hug, and I literally saw them peck right in front of my face. And before this, like that relationship was beautiful. Like really was a very dope relationship. And then that happened, and like that broke my heart on the scene. I remember I couldn't unsee that image. And then my dumbass broke up with her for a day, got back with her, and we dated for another 4 years. So in between this, we would like be on and off. I'd have fucking side pieces. I'd have fucking other girls on the side, the whole nine. It was just fucking terrible. And I think a lot of this was just me being a piece of shit. And because I was self-sabotaging. I was just like, I'm not happy with myself. And I just kept attracting what I was. And what I was at the time was a miserable fuck. So dated Megan for a couple of years, and then towards the end of that relationship was when I graduated college. I met Laura, who was my next girlfriend, who I dated for about 4 years. And at the beginning, I don't even think Laura knew this at the time or even now, but during that relationship, for the first year and a half, I literally had an addiction to Xanax. So like there were a couple times where we did psychedelics. We took acid. I mean, freshman year we did mushrooms at the dorms. Then we got into acid. And I remember during the acid trips, I was the fucking best. Like I was the energy. I was the one that like was the spiritual guide for everybody, because for whatever reason, even though I was so fucked up at the time, I was just always positive, good energy. Like as fucking weird as it sounds now talking back on the story. But went on a couple trips, started learning more perspective about life, started understanding like I don't want to do what my mom did, which was just, my mom was a valedictorian of her college. She did all the right things. And she still got the shit end of the stick when fucking 2008 happened. Financial crisis happens. They downsize her on her job, and fucking she ends up having to go work another job, start back down the ladder, and climb back up. So I met this kid. Go ahead, go ahead.
Real quick, just to jump in real quick. Maybe you were alluding to this right now, but I noticed you brought up a lot of, you surrounded yourself by all women for the most part, right? It was either girlfriends, other chicks you were hooking up with, and then you had this on and off kind of sort of good, sort of bad relationship with your mom. And there was a lot of you out of the house. There was a lot of college. But what about your guy friends? Like you talked about, I'm doing this, I'm self-sabotaging, I'm smoking because of my trauma, because that's why I'm acting like this, right?
Oh yeah.
Did you have any like ride or die guy friends that like, was there anybody that was just the slightest bit concerned or called you out on your shit that you had or had the balls to, or were they just kind of your party acquaintances?
Party acquaintances. So I had a whole group of friends, that house that I lived in. So it was actually the most toxic place to live in, by the way. So these friends were like the cool kids of the college, right? And they talked more shit than anybody. My whole life, like I got bullied when I was really young. I remember when I was in like elementary school, I got bullied for lunch money. And then throughout high school, I got bullied, I think, a couple times through some people. Like everyone would always talk shit because I was the one that like, I didn't react. You know what I mean? Like you could say whatever you want to me and I would never react, because what could you say to me that's going to hurt me more than what I heard on a daily basis at home? So basically, like, yeah, high school, like me and all my high school wrestling friends, we would always talk shit, bust balls, the whole nine. And I was always the butt of the joke from high school to college. So even in college, like I basically got bullied by the people I lived with. So like every fucking day they would just talk shit to me, and I would just go in my room and smoke weed and just fucking shut it out. Take Xanax, shut it out. Take acid, close the door. And basically, like, I mean, I didn't care. There were times where I did care, obviously, right? Where like they just went too far, but I would never fight them. I mean, I actually ended up fighting one of them, my boy Matt, and I fought him twice. One was on my birthday, and another time was at my house when I was blacked out. I think I might have egged him out the second time, but the first time was 100% him. It was my 21st birthday, maybe? No, 18th birthday, 19th birthday. I was young still, one of those. And yeah, it was 19th. We were still in the dorms. And we went to a party. He was really fucked up. He didn't stop talking shit. It was literally on my birthday. And I was like, bro, fuck you. We get back. I ended up fighting him. That was the first time I laid hands on anyone because, bro, after I fought my stepdad, like, I was almost afraid to fight. Because, like, once that comes out of you, like, brother, I know what these hands can fucking do. I was a couple punches away from him literally dying. So, like, I didn't want to do that again. Like I was like literally I had nightmares of me not stopping and shit. And I think that was what kind of led me to never really fight back after that physically. So anytime people would talk shit, I would just be like, cool, I don't care. Haha, you guys are funny. And that was that. So all the guy friends I had, I mean, my boy Nick that I actually started my business with, towards the end of it, me and him it's funny because like we were both just fucked up at the time. We were both taking Xanax together. We were both fucking drinking together. We were both doing blow together. Like we were partners in crime and the bad stuff, but we also were the only two that didn't talk shit to anybody. You know what I mean? Like we were literally out of that whole friend group because we stayed with them until I was a senior. And then my senior year, I moved out of that house and got the fuck away from them. And they were all pissed at me and they're like, how dare you fucking leave? And I'm like, I had to get the fuck out of this house. You guys are toxic. So during that time, I would spend all my time with my women and spend the other time with Nick. And me, like Nick was my closest friend in college. So me and him were the only two that were like-minded in terms of like, we don't understand why everybody talks shit. Like just fucking get over yourselves. And they would make assholes out of themselves all the time. and we were just fucking, yeah, just doing our thing. So yeah, that was my friends in college basically. And then the entire time through that, it was just fucking what's it called? It was just drugs, just getting fucked up, getting as fucked up as we could. And getting like we would drink. I mean, I was a party animal back then. I would fucking go out like freshman year would go out 7 days in a row sometimes. Like it was just I was just bad. I mean that, but that part was just that wasn't self-sabotage at that point. I think that part was just I'm a fucking freshman in college. I'm finally free and let's fucking have some fun. And we had fun.
Yeah,
But
I think you're if you're a freshman in college, you're weird for not doing something every night.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like that part was whatever. I
Like
don't think the problems came until the weed.
yeah, you're finally, or at least you feel you're free. You feel obviously the closer you are to the age of 21, you feel pretty much invincible.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people should experience that. So anybody that says,
100%.
anybody that says, oh yeah, no, I partied too much, like, yeah, probably, but like, there's a lot of learning experiences that you do grow out of honestly getting that fucked up that many days in a row and surrounding yourself by probably strangers, you know?
Yep. 100%. So yeah, I think looking back on it, I definitely put a lot of my female energy into women. You know what I mean? Like my motherly energy into women, because as I've gone through a lot of trips now, what I've noticed is my mom did have to become the man of the house, even though we had the stepdad in the house. And I think I was seeking that energy in every relationship I had. So like I was very clingy back then, very relationship oriented, where like I had to have a girlfriend. I wasn't good if I didn't have a girlfriend. And I think that came from yeah, just like not having that motherly energy, even though my mom was the fucking best. Like looking back on it now, she did it like now our relationship is where it is. I know the fucking value my mom brought and did and everything. But I've even told her like she had to become the man of the house, and that masculine energy took over, and which also didn't give us too much feminine energy to get raised by. So a lot of that literally probably was getting seeking in all my relationships, which were toxic. So basically, I got addicted to Xanax and fucking I don't even know. It was like I had gotten my first job. The reason I met at first I wanted to go into finance and work in finance. I was going to work for mutual funds, doing what my stepmom was doing at the time. She was working in for BlackRock. And then I was literally like in the finance major, the whole nine. And then my fucking this kid Jake Douchlander that we met, or Deutschlander, we call him Douchlander because he's a douche. But he fucking his dad was the owner of the number one independent financial planning firm in the country. It's called North Star Financial. So they did financial planning for doctors. And I met him and I met Jake, and he's like, yo, you got to meet my dad. He might be able to get you a job. Like, he's coming to town. I think you guys should sit down. Went on a meeting with him, went to like some fucking really beautiful restaurant in Providence at the time. And he told me the story about how being a financial planner, you can actually help people, and how you're not fucking just like, if I was selling mutual funds, I'm selling to the financial planners, which means like technically I'm not helping anybody. I'm not solving any problems. I'm just selling a product. But in financial planning, you actually can like show these people how to change their lives, how to protect their families, how to fucking make it so that they can actually have money in retirement, the whole nine. So I really like that. Ended up getting an internship, North Star Financial. That summer, I went to the internship. This was before Xanax really got bad. This was like I was still kind of just dabbling and just smoking weed every day, and that was that. And got the internship there. They ended up hiring me after the internship, and I started studying for my tests. I had to study for my life and health first. I got that passed. Then I was about to start studying for my Series 7, laying in Laura's bed one day after a fucking long night of drinking, after a Saturday night out, and I get a fucking call, and they have closed down the branch in Boston, and they offered me a job in either Milwaukee, which I'm like, Milwaukee or Dallas? And I'm like, I'm not fucking moving to Dallas or Milwaukee. That's crazy. So I called Jake's dad, who me and him had a good relationship at the time, and I was like, "Hey, could you give me a referral into another place? Like I want to work with you guys, but there's no way I'm moving out like that far." So they ended up putting me in touch with like Barnum Financial. Long story short, I got the interview with Barnum, went there. You guys are gonna laugh at this part of the story. They had a panel interview. So like the first interview was just a normal in-person interview. That was that. And then they told me during that interview, the next stage was going in front of a panel of 5 people. And I basically had to have this whole thing prepared and pitch in front of them. And that scared the living shit out of me. So I then met one of my boys at the time, Claude. He was like, "Yo, we're actually opening up an insurance branch in New York. It's with this guy Spiro, really cool guy, fucking blah, 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 blah. He's been fucking doing it successfully for a long time. We're going to merge together. We're going to have leads for you guys. We're going to have everything come through." And like a bunch of our friends were starting to go with them. So it was like, okay. So I ended up meeting Spiro. Should have known the time I met him that wasn't the move, but I mean, whatever. Thank God I did meet him. Thank God I did go through it. But he wasn't opening the office for another 6 months. I think that was when Claude was graduating. So this was probably like September, October when I heard the news. By November, I got a job with BAO, by appointment only, where my roommate at the time, Miguel, was working at. And he was killing it there. They were making like almost 200 grand a year. Shaq was in the fraternity, Teak or whatever. That was like one of the big fraternities on campus. He was a savage at the time. His whole fraternity ended up getting kicked off campus, got kicked out of the Johnson and Wales, the whole nine. Like it was like criminal type shit. It was fucking really bad back then. And they literally made a documentary on them. And fucking after that, a couple guys from their fraternity went to work at BAO. They all got jobs there, and Shaq was fucking killing it, bro. Like literally, he was making like 200, 250 a year, some crazy shit. Started flipping houses, the whole nine. Had a fucking Mercedes. So I was like, oh cool, I'll go work there. I'll cake up some money, and then once I'm done working there, I will go work for Spiro, and I'll quit. So I'll be there for 6 months, and that was that. So I got my first or my only corporate job. So I fucking went to HR, got the job, interviews, the whole nine, and fucking did training. We had to go up to like Andover, Massachusetts for training. That fucking sucked. And then that was that. I got the job. I started working, and then my ex-girlfriend Laura at the time wanted to go to Miami, and we were going to go for her birthday. So I had to ask for PTO, and I think this was what forever made me never get a job again after that. And having to ask for PTO just did not sit well for me. The only job I had before this was a lifeguard, literally working at a country club. Sounds bougie, but my boss was the biggest hard ass at the time. I used to have to pick the grass out of the cracks of the concrete. I used to have to scrub the pool with a magic eraser. Like I did a lot of manual labor at that job, but the rest was just sitting on my ass watching fucking people in the pool. And long story short, yeah, I fucking got the job at BAO. That PTO thing happened. I fucking hated it. I was like, this is ridiculous. I mean, they let me go. It was just the fact that there's a possibility that we couldn't go. I was like, oh, hell no. So we went on that trip. I think it was probably February. And then I had quit that job by June. And by the time I had quit, I was fucking killing it in the seat. Like I was just setting mad appointments. I was getting paid good. It was like, I was doing pretty good, but it was just like, fuck no, I'm getting the fuck out of here. So I quit, moved back to Jersey, to my mom's house in a condo. I went from living in a beautiful 2-bedroom apartment at the Rubber Lofts in Rhode Island to living in my mom's upstairs in a condo. And at this time, I was still smoking weed every day, commuting into now Long Island. And basically for the next 3 years, at first we commuted from New Jersey, from Roseland, New Jersey to Long Island, which was about a 2-hour to 2.5-hour commute every day each way. We would go in. There were no leads. Our leads were our friends and our family. So, I mean, they had like some old ass lead deck we called from at first. And then there were no leads. The kid Claude that we had signed up with had a drug problem at the time. The first day in the office there, we did blow, literally. Like we were fucking ripping lines of coke. And then, yeah, so during that time, right, like of me working at BAO, I was starting to dabble a little bit heavier into Xanax. And by the time I left BAO, my friend had a Klonopin script at the time. I bought it off him, and that was like a 3-4 month period where probably every day I was taking a K-pin. So I was like, I would get off of work. During the day, we would take Adderall, and then at night I would take a fucking K-pin. And that was a cycle for about 3-4 months until I left. And then once I left, I did not have any access to any Xanax or any K-pins, and I was done. So basically, I fucking fully quit the Xanax, and for about 6 months, I went through some of the gnarliest withdrawals I've ever gone through in my entire life. And I've gone through cigarette withdrawals because during the time in college, I was also smoking cigarettes. And then one time my dad had moved to North Carolina for my stepmom's job. I had to go visit them there, and I fucking didn't smoke weed. I didn't bring any weed, and I didn't bring any cigarettes. And I remember I literally had one night where I called my dad thinking I'm having a fucking heart attack. It was a panic attack, and that was from the cigarettes and shit. This time around, I didn't have any real panic attacks, but like every fucking day, I was shaky. I had anxiety. This was like the hardest thing in my fucking life. One of the hardest things I had to deal with. So 6 months later, got over it. We were cool. And then probably another 6 months later, I got arrested for weed. I had an eighth of weed coming home from work after a long day of work, literally going to my boy's house to go pick up an eighth to go fucking smoke. I remember we had Platinum Kush. It was one of my favorite strain of weed back then. And I got fucking arrested. It was all my fault. I parked my car in the wrong spot at my friend's house. I've never had an issue parking my car there before, but it was a resident spot. And long story, I was literally just going upstairs. My boy's like, yo, you want to smoke really quick? I smoked a fucking blunt. Come back downstairs. There's a cop in my fucking car. I go up. I'm like, hey, sorry, bro. I'm moving right now. My bad. I was just going in and out. And the cop looks at me. He's like, where are you going? Why are you here? And I'm like, I was just visiting a friend after work. I was in a suit still, or like fucking nice clothes. I'm like, I'm just going home. And he's like, okay, cool. You smell like weed. And I'm like, he's like, do you have any weed on you? I'm like, no. And then he fucking searches me. The second he starts patting me down, I literally just take the weed out of my pocket. And I'm like, here, bro, fuck you. So apparently, legally, that was the worst thing you could have done, because if you give it up.
Oh, yeah.
Ross is like, yep.
What an idiot. What an idiot. Now continue that.
Yeah. So gave the weed up and got arrested from there. And then basically, yeah, dude, that was a fucking shitty point in my life because I was so broke. Like, bro, we weren't closing anything in insurance. My biggest dream was to just close one 10K deal where like I made 10K. And like I was reaching out to my friends and family. I signed my mom up for a long-term care policy. I tried to sign my cousin up, cursed him out because he didn't do it with me. Like it was just like it was just not fun. So
let me ask you this real quick, because you've talked about this in the past. You brought up this weed arrest and your relationship with cops and things like that.
Coming from the cop himself.
Coming from I don't identify as that, but had a couple experiences with that. Based on what you're saying, I want to ask you this, because consciously you pulled that out of your pocket. You knew it was the right thing to do, right?
Yeah.
Which it was, right? They're going to find it anyway. Fuck it, right? Looking back on it now, with everything that was going through your life, do you think that moment when you did that happened for you, or it was maybe a sign of you surrendering? Like just that moment in time, because there might be more significance than you think at that exact moment when that happened. Because I've been arrested for criminal mischief, and I've arrested people that kept going down the wrong path over and over again. And if I didn't arrest them, they would have died. And they said that I saved their life. So I know that's a little aggressive and going like way to the other end of the spectrum, but I'm letting you know like what things could be if you keep up a lifestyle that you're going down. And you didn't really talk about a lot of saving grace guy friends that may have kicked your ass or whipped you up into shape or verbally straighten your ass up, right? So you didn't really have a whole lot of that. So that moment in time, looking back on it now, knowing what you know now, Like, what were some things that you pulled out of that moment, however many years later?
I think it was a very pivotal moment in my life because obviously, like up until now, I never did anything wrong legally. Like I was all my whole life. Anytime anyone was being an asshole, I was just like, no, I'm not about that. Like I'm the good one. Like I'm not going to fucking go to jail. I'm not doing this shit. Like I always had a good head on my shoulders with that my whole life. Other than obviously everything I just told you with all the drugs I did, all the bullshit I did. But literally, in terms of like with the law, like if I mean, oh fuck, I didn't even tell you guys. I actually almost got a DUI when I was in high school as well. I didn't go over that part of the story, so maybe I'll touch that after. But in terms of the weed arrest, 100% was a pivotal moment in my life because before that arrest, I had not stopped smoking weed for the entire time, right? Like literally from the time I was in college until that point, every day and never had anxiety with weed, never had any bad parts of weed. I loved weed at the time. Like that, Mary Jane was my best fucking friend. So when I had stopped smoking, I read the book. I think this was when I read the Grant Cardone 10X rule. It might have been that book or it might have been a different one. I think it was a 10X rule. And I had
Where did that come out of that? Like
where did I find that?
Yeah, like what influence? Not everybody that's a stoner is like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna read a book by a fucking centimillionaire on 10xing their fucking life. Like, where did that? Like,
I was already an entrepreneur the whole time I was a pothead. So like me and Jordan have talked about this before. I was gonna be a successful pothead. Like literally, I refused to believe that weed was a negative influence on my life at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So like that girl Laura that I was dating at the time, she hated that I smoked weed. Literally, so when we were in college, I remember like when we first started dating, like she smoked a couple blunts with me. Like I would go to her house, we would smoke, go in a room, chill out. And then after I graduated or after she graduated, I think it was after she graduated, she did a 180 on weed and started hating it. And I'm like, you should smoke with me. So we used to literally fight every day for 3 years straight about me smoking weed. And I was always like, dude, I smoke weed, but like I go to work, I get my job done, I'm growing, I was going to the gym at the time, I'm fucking doing everything right. Why does it matter if I smoke weed? And like that was literally my story for a very long time. And I'm like, weed doesn't matter. Like I was so desensitized to weed at the time where I'm like, look, I go to work, I do what I got to do. When I'm done with work, I had an effective day, and then I fucking smoke, and then I play video games and I go to bed. What's wrong with that? And at the time, like she was working her first job, and like we would never really see each other, only on the weekends. I'm like, I can't even fucking see you. So what difference does it make if I'm fucking smoking weed? It's not like we're on the phone at night. You're fucking busy doing your own thing. So
let me ask you this with the weed thing and kind of normalizing it, right?
Yeah.
Was it, I don't know if this is a Jersey thing, because it was a pretty normal thing to do there, because we're kind of near like New York City and just like whatever. It's just kind of like the vibe over there. But like the normalizing thing, like I was more of a drinker, so I would get a lot of shit from my friends that were smokers. And I'm like, you've got a fucking problem with weed. I don't even remember the last time I've seen you not high.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, it's better than you going out 4 nights a week getting all fucked up. I was like, neither are good, right? But they always put up this massive front saying marijuana is like, it's not a fucking drug. It's not that bad. And I'm like, every time you fucking stop for even a little bit, you have insane anxiety or you're a nasty motherfucker to be around. So you do have a problem with weed. And they would always just get pissed off when I said that. And I'm like, if we're doing anything, putting something that alter our state of mind into our body and we like it enough, can't that form an addiction?
Yeah. I think the common concept rather for potheads, and Joey, relate with me here if you can. I always used to rationalize it because it's like, bro, I could smoke a pound right now. I'm not going to die. You
Yeah.
could drink 3/5 of vodka, you'll probably die. You could take a whole pill bottle of Xanax, dead. Fentanyl, dead. Just any drug, you die. Marijuana, I'm not saying it's impossible. It's just really, really, really hard to take that substance to the grave. That is how I rationalized. I was like, well, I'm better. It's not a drug like alcohol. You'll die. I can't die from weed, so it's all good. I can't die from weed, but you could die from coke, so I'm all good. I'm
Exactly.
not doing that though, but I'm good.
And I can function on weed.
Yeah.
Like weed doesn't affect me, right? I can function on it. Even if I smoke, I'm still good. I might be a little antisocial, but that's about it. And that's why I'm only smoking at night now. And who cares? I already did my work for the day, right? So like, why not? Why can't I shut my brain off at the end of the day? And that was the justification for it for a long time. But when I had quit weed that first time, I remember I went Super Saiyan mode. And oh no, it was the 12-week year was the book I read. And I read that book so fucking fast. And my brain was like on fucking turbo mode. This is my first time ever not smoking weed. And like I didn't have the anxiety. I think the first 2 nights I couldn't sleep. And then after that, I was good. Not good, but I was better. And I was just like crazy energy for like 3 weeks straight. And then something changed and I started smoking again slowly. And yeah, dude, it was just like, I think that me having that sobriety and seeing that was one of the best things that could have happened at the time. A lot of it was me fighting my ex on like justifying why I should smoke weed, right? It was like my ego got risen from that. And it was like, well, you're telling me I can't smoke, so I'm going to fucking smoke now. And basically, that was like right before COVID. And then then COVID started, and I had just learned about wholesaling and basically was like getting slowly into it. We went to Miami together. When we went to Miami, I wasn't smoking weed again because I think I was still going through the court cases at the time. And basically, once COVID, no, we were going to Miami. On the way back, that was when COVID literally kind of started. Like it was like the first outbreaks were happening. And I remember we were on the plane and I was like, we were not wearing masks yet, but it was like, I was fucking worried. And then we got back and COVID really started. And I was at my house and my ex-girlfriend moved back up to fucking Connecticut because it was COVID and no one knew what was going on in the world. So she wanted to be with her parents. And I was alone again. And I just beat the court case. So I literally hadn't smoked probably for like 3-4 months at this time, maybe 5 months. And then literally COVID started and I grabbed the eighth and I started smoking again. And then I didn't stop. And then basically then I would go up to visit her once we were allowed to go like back and shit or like go in person and stuff. And for the first couple of times I would go to visit her, I never admitted that I started smoking weed again. So I was hiding it from her. So for a long time, I had to hide it from her. And like, I brought a vape. I fucking like literally would have a vape up in my fucking, like bring it up to her parents' house, smoke the fucking vape at night, like sneak in the bathroom, shit like that, take edibles, sneak an edible to her fucking house. Like for the whole beginning of COVID, she had no idea I was fucking smoking. And I was getting stoned, bro, like fucking beautifully high. So then eventually there was one time she found it. She was like crying and shit, freaking out. Like she found heroin in my bag or something. I'm like, it's fucking weed. Get over yourself. Got in a big fight about that. And then I also realized at the time that I thought in our relationship that we were just fighting because of weed. And then I stopped smoking weed and we were still fighting. And I'm like, oh, no, this is just not a healthy relationship. We fight over everything. Like it doesn't, that was the first girl I dated that didn't cheat on me, other than Gabby, the first one ever. And that was the girl that God gave me to show me that fucking there are women out there that are not cheaters. Because until her, I thought every girl cheated. Like that was all I attracted was cheaters. And basically, yeah, I had that relationship where she was just toxically controlling. Literally tried to control every aspect of my life, to my diet, to like everything. And it was just not a fun environment. So ended up breaking up with her. Basically when we had closed our first 2 deals wholesaling. So like we were getting into wholesaling fucking like beginning of COVID, I was smoking weed every day and literally playing Fortnite for like the first month of COVID. Like literally for a month straight, I didn't do anything but play Fortnite and smoke weed. And this was like during the beginning of learning wholesaling. The only other thing I was doing was this kid was mentoring us on wholesaling and never closed a deal before. And I was doing his classes.
Let's rewind just a little bit. Wholesaling, where did it come from? You said you were an entrepreneur. You said you were, reading the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. But where wholesaling's not just a thing that just like magically appears in people's lives, right? So let's talk about like what drew you to it, who told you about it first, what were you listening to, doing, and out of all the things, why sign up for wholesaling?
So that guy Shaq that was doing the flips, my old roommate at the time, Miggy, started doing flips with him, and I saw like, damn, these guys are fucking lighting it up. So I always wanted to get into flipping at first. And I was going to network events trying to sell insurance. And at one of the networking events, this kid Tyler was like, Joey, when are you going to get into real estate? And I was like, I don't know. When I have money, like I need to close some deals first, get me some clients, let's close some deals, and then I'll fucking do some flips. And he was like, at first he was like, okay, cool. Then I saw him. Then I was door dashing at the time. Like I literally was driving DoorDash, fucking doing deliveries and shit because I was so broke, I needed money. And I was door dashing, and my boy Luke came with me at the time. And Luke was my sister's ex-boyfriend. And basically me and him stayed friends until now. But he fucking was doing wholesaling. And basically while I was door dashing, he came with me one day. I was like, yeah, let's go smoke some weed. We'll go fucking DoorDash, have a good time. I'll fucking pick up some orders. So he came with me and he's like, yo, pull up in front of that house. I want to take a picture. I'm like, bro, that's weird. What the fuck are you taking a picture of a house for? He's like, no, I'm going to send them a postcard and see if they want to sell their house. And I'm like, okay, creepy, cool. So then like he kind of in the car explained to me what wholesaling was. I was probably high at the time. I like didn't even really put two and two together. Then it was either the next day or the next week. Can't remember this part of the story, but I went to that networking event again with that kid, Tyler. And this time Tyler asked again, Joey, when are we doing real estate? And I'm like, dude, I need money. And he's like, bro, you don't need money to do real estate. I'm like, yes, I do. And he's like, no, you don't. What do you mean? And he's like, there's this thing called wholesaling where you could go find fucking houses, do what you're already doing on the phones, call homeowners, see if they want to sell their house. And if they want to sell, then you could fucking wholesale their house. And I'm like, damn, okay, that sounds pretty dope. So I start fucking learning from him. He became our mentor for a second. He was 22 years old at the time. He had to sign a non-compete agreement for like 2 years that we couldn't fucking do wholesaling. He charged us 10% royalties of everything that came from our business. And there was this guy, Todd Miranda at the time, that was a mortgage broker and a realtor that the wrestling dads, one of my friend's dads that was in the wrestling team, he had introduced me to Todd Miranda because he was like the guy in New York that you got to fucking meet for real estate and events and whatever. Met Todd, thought he was a really cool guy, had a real Rolex on, the whole nine, fucking really flashy dude. And me and Todd got close. We ended up throwing a networking event for me, which was like the worst networking event I've ever fucking thrown. There was like 5 people that showed up, 3 of which were like my people and like my friends. And long story short, did that terrible event, whatever, got wasted with Todd, had a good time on that part. And then, Todd was like supposed to do it with him. And then Tyler was the one that knew the wholesaling. So I had thought he had closed all these deals. So he literally had built like a whole course on wholesaling, bro. We were doing classes, like he was fucking teaching us all the blocking and tackling. Basically a month in, I had built a whole team of like it was like 6 of us, 8 of us, some shit like that. Cause I'm always good at building people. So I fucking found all these people. I brought everyone in, fucking built this whole company and shit. And we were just fucking grinding and grinding and grinding. 3 months later, there was this kid, Gilly, that was from Mass that I used to play fucking video games with. 3 of the kids on the team were my Fortnite buddies. So we started fucking doing shit, and we were about to like really open up a company. I drove up to Mass to go meet Gilly in person. And I think we had met. Did we meet? I'm pretty sure we met. And then after that, I literally went home and never heard from this kid again. Like literally, like met him. We were about to partner up in the business, three-way partner, Nick, me, and him. And Nick had moved to my insurance firm at the time. That when we were working for Spiro, my last year with Spiro, Nick moved there. Literally was working for New York Life. Wasn't having a good time there. Came over, and then I brought Nick into wholesaling with me. So long story short, that happened with Gilly. Everyone else on the team left, and it was just me and Nick. So we brought in my friend Dimitri at the time, who was my Spiro's nephew, who started wholesaling. Or he was doing insurance with us. Spiro had fired him from doing insurance, and I was like, "Yo, Dimitri, you want to come with us? We're fucking doing this." Ended up helping out a little bit. We fucking got into wholesaling from there. Found out Tyler had never closed the deal because one day he's telling us to use Mojo Dialer, the next day he's telling us to use Zen Call at the time, which is now Ready Mode. And I just realized he kept switching me shit. I'm like, oh yeah, this kid has no idea what the fuck he's doing. So basically, once I got the grasp of it, literally got rid of Tyler. He let us out of the non-compete verbally, whatever. And then we went on to wholesale. Realized Todd was kind of sketchy. Crazy shit came out with Todd after. Like he had fucking pictures of him sucking cock and shit, and like blackmail picture type shit. I don't even know. He was into some dark shit. So basically, yeah, that happened, and after that, we went all alone.
Now the Rolex makes sense.
Oh my god.
So after that, we had our first deal under contract at the time, and I remember that I had found out Danny McBrien was wholesaling. Me and Danny went to college together. And I'm like, I remember I was seeing like sending these texts on Instagram, like him cursing out people and shit, cursing out buyers and stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Like, what is this kid doing? Ended up being wholesaling. He was in it for 2 years already. And I'm like, what the fuck? So picked Danny's brain on one of the deals. The first deal we ever had, we literally had it assigned. And then the buyer was like, told us that he only needed one walkthrough. We gave him that one walkthrough, and then he needed more because he needed to get a C of O, which like in Jersey, you have to get the town to do a C of O inspection to sell the house, and they had to do an appraisal. But back then, I didn't know fucking it. I'm like, appraisal? What the fuck do you mean appraisal? C of O? What the fuck is this? You told us you only had to be back in the house once. Now you need access. Fuck you. So I actually remarketed the deal with it being assigned to him, deposited in and everything, and sent it directly to him. And he fucking calls me and he's like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, why do you need more access to property? And basically, long story short, he ended up closing on it. We got that one done. It was a 15K assignment. Then my second deal, we had contracted like within this process, and we got that one assigned. I was collecting unemployment at the time. We were that broke, and COVID was paying good for unemployment. So we were on unemployment. I think I had gotten like 12 grand or some shit from unemployment, which is like the most money I ever had before closing a deal, and spent that money on leads and basically spent that money on cash for keys for getting the people out of the fucking house. So the tenant at that second deal, we had to give him cash for keys, got the guy out. It was a complete slob, and closed our first two deals the same week, made 35 grand, and thought we knew what the fuck we were doing. So then from there, it took 6 months to close another deal. Then from there, it took another 3, then another 2, then another 1, then another 3, then another 2, like for fucking 2-3 years straight, until I got rid of the team I was with and reshaped everything. And you guys kind of know the rest of that story. Basically went on my own for a little bit, partnered up with 4 people one time or 3 people one time for a month, fired them all after I trained the entire team and realized I was doing everything. And then got rid of them, hired an acquisition manager. That acquisition manager ended up being an old business owner of an insurance call, a company for P&C insurance. We partnered up. He was my acquisition manager, and then I realized he actually had money. He funded me to do Eric Klein's mentorship. Like he spotted me. We did our first 100K month off of $0. Did 127K the month of January 2023. And then we did 60K and then 20K, and then he quit. Left the business with me, and then I was all on my own and haven't had a partner since.
It's quite the journey. Quite the journey.
Quite the journey. But wait, there's more. When the fuck did you decide to move halfway across the world? And why?
when did I decide to move to Colombia?
Sí, en Medellín. ¿Por qué, amigo, hermano? ¿Por qué?
Okay, we got to go all the way to today, so we'll do it. So I was during working with Nick. Me and Nick were partners for 3 years, and with me and Nick being partners, we hired Anthony and Alec. Alec was Nick's brother. Anthony was one of my boys I went to high school with and middle school with, and we wrestled together, played football together, the whole nine. So I started traveling to Ecuador. My boy Jaco, who was it's kind of a funny story with Jaco because we got in a big brawl with the wrestling team when I was a freshman. After I quit the wrestling team, the fraternity I was friends with, they ended up getting in the biggest brawl. I fought this kid in the middle of the streets, and the whole wrestling team hated me after this. So Justin was on the wrestling team at the time, but me and him went to high school, like not together, but we did club together. So we were kind of cool in high school. And then we were not boys after high school, like in college after the wrestling team shit. And then one time Justin came over to my apartment because Miggy was on the wrestling team, but he wasn't there during the fight period. So like me and Miggy were fucking boys. And Justin came over one day. We played FIFA together. We made a bet where like whoever loses has to do push-ups. I think I might have done 100 push-ups at the time because Justin was disgusting at FIFA. And we became boys. So Justin started dating a Ecuadorian girl. And mind you, my stepdad was Brazilian. So like I used to go to Brazil from the time I was probably 2 or 3 to the time I was 10 or no, I think like 11. No, 12. 12 was the last year we went. I went every single summer for like 3 months at a time or 3 weeks at a time. So loved Brazil, loved South America, loved the people. I remember the women, even though I was a little baby, they were fucking beautiful back then. So loved Brazil overall. And then just didn't like him. But other than that, yeah, we went to Ecuador for the first time. My first trip to Ecuador, we went to Quito first. Then we went to Tena, which was in the middle of the jungle. Literally went in the Amazon. It was the sickest experience of my life. I fucking had a blast there. This was kind of in the middle of me stopping and starting weed, by the way. So like I remember I'd smoked a little weed there. Then we got back to Quito, had some good weed there, and we went to Baños. So quick side stories. I met a girl in every city I went to in Ecuador. Only there for like 2, 3 days. This was my player phase, guys. Like I was a fucking fat stud back then because I was still not weight loss was not my friend yet. But we were crushing it with the women game in Ecuador. I was having a fucking blast. And this was after I broke up with Laura. After I broke up with Laura, I was single for 4 or 5 years. Like literally until I met my wife, I was single. So going on Ecuador.
Can do some damage in 4 or 5 years.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But I was okay. Didn't tell you guys this part. My rule for a very long time was if I won't date you, I will not fuck you. I definitely broke that rule a bunch of times throughout the spiritual journey. But when I broke up with Laura, I fixed myself. I realized finally that I was the problem, not all these women. And that's why I wouldn't date a single woman until I met my wife. And literally, yeah, I think I went celibate for like almost a year, like almost went a whole year on purpose without having sex. And then I was doing like semen retention back then, the whole nine, like wouldn't jerk off, wouldn't do fucking any of it. And that was fucking pretty gnarly. And then from there, I started going to Ecuador, met a bunch of Ecuadorian women, broke that rule 100 times, kept meeting women. I mean, the girls I was meeting, like I did fuck with. But yeah, the first trip to Ecuador, I met a girl in the jungle, I met a girl in Quito, and then I met a girl when we went to Baños who was beautiful, Tati. She was gorgeous. And fucking long story short, I really hit it off with Tati. We fucking talked after I left Ecuador for like a month or two. And then after that, she ended up dating another guy, got pregnant, or like she was in a toxic relationship, got back with the guy, got pregnant, and then was with him for like a year, broke up with him, whatever. So then we went home, whatever, went back to Ecuador because my friend Justin had hit me up and was like, I'm going to ask Sonia to marry me. So I want you guys to be there for that. So we're going back to Ecuador. So I went back to Ecuador. This time we went to the beach. Fucking love the beach. We went to Mantanita, which is right next to Guayaquil. And that was a beautiful experience. And then we went back, we went to Rio Bamba, which is next to Chimborazo, which is one of the biggest, or probably the biggest volcano in the world, I think. It's the highest mountain in the entire world, higher than Mount Everest from like closest to space, just not the bottom to top. Like Mount Everest is like a bigger mountain, if that makes sense. But Does that not make sense? Basically, Mount Everest is a taller mountain, like in terms of from the base of Mount Everest to the peak of Mount Everest, it is taller.
Higher
But
elevation.
Chimborazo is way higher elevation. It is
Okay.
literally like 25,000 feet or 22,000 feet, like something ridiculous like that. It starts at like, I think like 18,000 feet. So, yeah, we went to Riobamba. They got engaged, had a good time. And then, yeah, I think I met, what happened that time? Oh, yeah, that was the time. So I met Alvarito, the guy that does my media. I met him the first trip we were out there. We were out at a nightclub in Quito. Fucking met Alvarito. He introduced me to all of his girls. Fucking ended up fucking one of them, having a great time with one of them. Me and her talked for like a minute after that, even though me and Tati were already talking. She blew me off. Me and that other girl started talking for like a couple months. And then we cut it off. She didn't like me smoking weed either. So I was like, yeah, I can't do that. Fuck that. I just broke with my ex-girlfriend for this. I'm not about to do this again. Then went back. This time met a couple other girls. I met this girl, Natalie, and we had a good time there. And basically, I went back again to go visit Tati 2 years later, who had the kid again, which was like, I don't know why the fuck I did that. But she basically randomly hit me up one day, and like our connection was always really dope at first. So I was like, I gotta go meet her. Let me go meet her one more time, put my meat in her and see where it goes. So
the old meat stick.
Great.
So basically, I fucking went back by myself this time, and this was my first time going to Ecuador fully alone. Like I did not have any friends with me this time. Went back. Natalie let me stay at her house. Me and her had like a quick little thing, but then we really were just good friends after that. And I literally just stayed at her house, her parents' house. They opened up their house to me. I was there for like 3 days. Went to Manta, saw Tati, was with her for like a week, and then did not hit it off with her at the end of it. Like we had fun, but like it was just not relationship ever, anything, nothing. It was, she had 2 kids at the time. There's nothing coming out of that. And then went back to Quito, met a couple more Ecuadorian girls, and met up. I think I'd gone back one more time for the wedding. I think I forgot that part of the story. And then after the wedding, that was when I came back myself for the 4th time. And so I had gone back 4 times, and then I was in love with Ecuador. So then I met, I kept meeting Colombian girls in the U.S. Literally met an au pair that was like a foreign exchange person that literally was like working as a maid in someone's house or nanny in someone's house, and met her. Like it was cool. We never really did much. Like it was just not it. And hung out with her for a while, and then just kept meeting Colombian women. Right. So I was dating a couple of girls throughout that period. Not dating. Like nothing was ever official, but it was just like getting into it with them. We would have sex. I wouldn't like the energy. I would get rid of them. And then I remember the last 2 before I moved to Colombia. One was a Jewish girl that was like, I had bad energy for like 2 weeks after I touched her. So literally that one sucked. And then I met a Colombian girl that was gorgeous, had a great time with her. She stopped talking to me because I didn't open the car door for her, some shit like that. It was like the stupidest thing. And I was like, okay. So that one, I remember I was like sad for like 2 days about it. And then my boy Marcel at the time, who was in my old community, he was like, yo, like, why don't we go to fucking Colombia? And this was when I was about to do my first 100K month. And I was like, yeah, fuck it. Let's go to fucking Colombia. Sure. Like, I'm down. I've been here. Everyone's been telling me I got to do it. It's on my bucket list. So let's fucking go. So the goal was to go for a month. I stayed for 2. I met my wife a month in, and literally like the first month in, honestly, was kind of miserable. Like I wasn't that happy here in Colombia at all. Because like, guys, when I went to Ecuador, I was a god. Like there are not American men there that much. So like everywhere I went, I was breaking necks. And this isn't me being cocky or exaggerating. Like I swear to God, it was like I was the shit in Ecuador. I could go to any girl I wanted. It was like the peakiest level of my life in terms of like where I was like a player and could get any woman I wanted. Unless you had a boyfriend, obviously. Went to Colombia, that was not the case. So like I was in El Poblado, I was in the middle of the shits, and there were gringos fucking all over the place. we were going out. Like I met a couple girls. Like I had some fun, whatever. But like I couldn't meet anyone of substance yet. And every girl I was meeting was just like bougie, and I'm like, oh, like you guys are like Americanized. Like what the fuck is going on here? Little did I know I was in the worst part of Medellin to meet anyone because that was like the tourist and the sex capital part of the fucking world. So yeah, I didn't really hit it off with anybody. I remember literally like right before I met my wife, I was like, we had gone out like a night before, 2 nights before. I was like kind of miserable, like literally. And then I went on this hike with my friends. And my boy Marcel, I remember the first time we went on the hike was like, bro, there's the most beautiful women you will ever see up here. Marcel's gay, but he was just like whatever, like you got to go on this hike. And I literally was going with no intention to meet anyone. Obviously, if I met someone, I was like, let's go. Get to the top of the hill. I see my fucking, I didn't even see my wife yet. I saw her best friend, the other one. And I think I just like didn't register my wife because she was walking with 2 kids. And I'm like, oh, that one has kids? Fuck, no, I'm not about to be a stepdad. Because at this time, I already decided I was not going to be a stepdad. So I look at my boy Jesse James, shout out my brother. And I was like, yo, we got to go up to these girls. They're hot as shit, bro. Let's go. So we're at the top of the hill. I literally just got done like asphyxiating and shit. I'm like it was Tres Cruces is a hard fucking hike, guys. Like really hard. It's like dirt the entire way up and stairs going the entire way up for like a mountain that's like this basically. I can't show it here like this. So whatever. See them. We go up to them. Talk to my Jesse runs up to the really bad one and fucking literally goes right up to her. They start talking, whatever. Like I think she was taking a picture. He gets in her picture. And then I go up to my wife's friend first. I'm like, oh, what's your name? Whatever. I like looked at her. I'm like, I don't think this is my type. And then I look to the right and I'm like, oh, well, what's your name? And she's like, Cielo, like in like the highest pitch voice. And I'm like Cielo? Like you mean like heaven? Because that's what Cielo means. And the only reason I knew was because one of the girls at the time that I was talking to used to call me Mi Cielo. And I'm like, what does that mean? Fucking Google Translate means my heaven. I'm like, okay. So I meet Cielo and she's like, that's her name. End up talking to her literally like from the second we started talking until whatever, we literally talked for probably an hour straight at the top of the mountain. There was like this shop at the top of the mountain. You could get like a fruit bowl and stuff, or like it's called a salpicon, which is like fruit that sits in juices for days, kind of like marinades. And then they could put ice cream in it, cheese in it, whatever you want. It's fucking dope. I had one of those with her. We were talking. Shut up, Jordan. I don't know your weird cheese problem. Fucking, we were having a good time talking, whatever, and then just really fucking hit it off. And then we ended up going out after that, the whole nine. She had a boyfriend at the time, though, guys. So when the first thing she asked was, "Do you have a girlfriend?" And I'm like, "No." "Do you have a boyfriend?" She's like, "Yeah," but she's like, "He sucks, and I'm probably breaking up with him very soon." And long story short, she had just found out he cheated on him, was like on the verge of breaking up with her. He had cheated on her, was on the verge of breaking up with him. And yeah, so literally 3 weeks later, we were kind of starting to date and then got really serious really quick. And then basically the next time I moved back, she moved in with me and the rest was history. Like I literally made her move in with me. She got rid of her lease and never looked back. And now I'm in Colombia.
Viva la Colombia.
Life happens fast.
Really fast.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
We just went through Joey's life, start to finish, in less than 90 minutes. So to sum up someone's pretty much the bullet points of their entire life in that time, plus the significant changes that you've had, goes to show life happens fast. Before you know it, it changes aggressively.
Very aggressively. Very aggressively. Really good. Next thing you know, you're fucking married to a Colombian speaking fluent Spanish in fucking Colombia. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's fire, bro. Appreciate you sharing all of that.
Yeah, appreciate you. That's cool. It's like it kind of makes sense when you tie it all together of like, who is Joey? You know, it's just
100%.
it's it's exciting to hear people's stories, and I think there's so many learning experiences you can take from it. I'm sure you were learning as you were going through it. Jordan, sure you have a couple questions. I definitely have a couple.
I knew you were just gonna say that. Let's
Yeah.
hear it.
I got more than a couple, but I'm trying to like put emojis on the most important so we don't go crazy and be here for 4 hours.
Yeah, we could be here for 4 hours.
Um,
This is already going.
All right, I got a couple that I want to ask, but I think I want to start with this one, which is actually surprising based on everything I want to ask. So Ross brought this up earlier too. It seems like from like late high school on until moving to Columbia, a lot of women in your life, a lot of friends that were men, although they were toxic friends who basically fucking treated you like shit, just party homies, partners in crime. I get it, been there. But it seems to me that it was not very often that Joey was alone, right? So I'm curious about that. Did you have a problem with being alone?
Fuck
And
yeah.
and if so, like why? Is that fear? What were you afraid of when it was quiet, when there was no girl, no homies, no substance, and it was just Joey?
Reliving the trauma, I think. So like I definitely did not like being alone for a very long period of time. It wasn't until I also didn't tell this, but I story my grandma fucking had dementia, was living with us for years, and that was a crazy thing as well. She used to scream my name in the middle of the nights, like literally watched her die, the whole nine. So like that was also a big part of that. Basically from when I was working in insurance to when I started wholesaling and was getting into wholesaling. So yeah, I think it was I wasn't ever alone, right? Like I mean there were parts where I mean even when I was in fucking like insurance days, like I would come home, I would have all my friends always at my house. I would never be alone and we would always be smoking weed, having fun and doing stupid shit. And I mean there's even a part I got into Percocets and shit. Like I was doing fuck bro, I was just doing it all. And I don't think I wanted to be alone. I don't think at that time I was ready to be alone. I don't think I was ready to I just used to always say that like if I'm not stoned, my thoughts are going to go crazy and I'm going to have to relive the past. And now that I am older and I've gone through a lot of self work and self healing, I've kind of accepted it. You know what I mean? Where it's like, it's not trauma anymore. We were on a mushroom trip the other day and I was guiding the trip. And I literally, like in the middle of the trip, was able to go over some parts of my story, but in an educating way where it's like this isn't like I'm good, guys. I'm fucking happy. I also realized some part along the way that I have more strength than most people because of what I went through, right? Where it was like literally I went through so much shit from the time I was like technically 2 to the time I was fucking I don't know 25, where 25 to 30 was just self-realization and understanding like I'm fucking good. Like life is great. I fucking once I got out of that house, I was fucking good. I just had too much freedom at the time and then started getting into the drugs. And like for part of it, it was for fun, honestly. I love being fucked up. I enjoyed it. I love the feeling of being fucked up. And then eventually it turned into like an excuse as to like, no, I need to be fucked up or I can't sleep. And then, yeah, I think I just couldn't be alone for a long time. Once I finally was alone, which was COVID time, after I broke up with my ex, I needed that. I really fucking needed that. And even though a lot of like for a little bit I was high, and then after I broke up with my ex, I fully quit weed and did that on my own and really went for like long periods of time without smoking weed. And then I would like get back into it recreationally. But at that point, it wasn't like I need to smoke weed to sleep. It was like I just love being high and I fucking was smoking. So that was the battle from 25 to 30 was literally, I mean, I'm still technically battling it today, which is quitting weed fully. I mean, I don't smoke anymore. I haven't thought about it. I'm good with it now. I'm fully at peace with it. But literally, you guys know I stopped smoking fucking a month and a half ago now. So it's still new. I still got to get over it. But yeah, I think a big part of that was I just did not want to be alone at the time because I didn't want to deal with my thoughts.
It's like the silence is loud in
Oh,
those
yeah.
moments, right?
100%. And I didn't know how to be alone. I was so used to being around. I'm also a yellow personality. I get
Yeah.
charged up from being around people.
True.
So I got a question for you. I have other friends that have been through similar upbringings. Obviously, everybody's is unique, but I'm just talking the categories, right?
Yep.
And I've had friends that could never be alone, right? And my question for you, because I'm Mr. Devil's Advocate, and I'm your, hopefully you would consider a friend at this point. I am going to be the guy that's going to call you out a lot more because based off everything that you've lived through all the way up to this day, have you ever been alone?
Yeah. 100%. There have been times that,
Like truly alone.
yes, during that 5-year period of being single, I don't remember if it was 4 years or 5 years. There were many times where I literally was perfectly like I actually mastered being alone. So like I would go on hikes by myself, no music, nothing. That was my biggest challenge was learning to be good to be by myself. But I think that's also what made me attract my wife was like, bro, I mean, put it this way, I went to Ecuador by myself. Like I was on the plane by myself. I didn't know anybody. I really
Right.
did get very good at being by myself by then.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Because like when you were talking about Ecuador, I thought I like heard people on the trips. But if you're doing
No, for the first 4 or the first 3, every time I was with people. But then the fourth one, it's funny, like, bro, I find peace being alone now. Because like I'm so outgoing. For me, my happy place, I mean, whether even if my wife's next to me is like alone in the fucking woods, away from everything. The woods ended up being my happy place. You know what I mean? Like I literally would find, even if I was going to smoke a blunt in the woods, I would do it fully alone. And like that was my like I fucking used to love doing that shit sometimes. Just like going in the woods, gathering my thoughts, just like thinking on what I need to think on, shit like that. But before I broke up with my ex, I couldn't be alone. After I broke up with her, I went fully, bro, I literally almost went like monk mode. Like I went so far in the other direction of everything I was doing. And that period of my life was self-work. Like I got jacked, bro. I had a fucking V-cut 6-pack, jacked out of my mind. I was fucking 195 pounds, like literally the best shape of my life, one of the best mindsets of my life. Like I was just doing every part of what we call self-work. And that was a pretty dope part of my life, honestly. It's going to the sauna every day. I would go by myself. I mean, I would meet people there or talk to people there. But there were a lot of times in the sauna, bro, I would have my eyes closed and I would find my third eye right up here and I would just fucking go into deep ass meditation. Meditation is what taught me to be alone with my thoughts.
It's good. Meditation's very powerful. And with your personality type, that is a very loud brain to quiet.
Yes, it is.
It's not as loud as analyticals, though. They actually have the loudest because they are externally silent, internally loud. They have the loudest brains.
Yes.
Always thinking.
100%.
So it could be louder. Yours is pretty freaking loud with your personality style, though.
It's not quiet. I can tell you guys that much.
Yeah, I was just making sure because like there's a couple things that always concern me with people that are people, right? It lights them up, but they pour into others so much and they're constantly around others. It's unknowingly it's a distraction and it is a form of self-sabotaging because
100%.
there is no silence, right? Silence is where you find yourself. Silence is where a lot of the answers lie within. And silence grows confidence because if you can sit in silence, it changes your life. And I recommend this for anybody listening that, you know, either is in a relationship, lives in a house with a busy family, is relationship hopping, is married, has kids, and it's literally constant chaos, find, even if it is 2 to 4 hours a week, leave early in the morning. I don't care if it's a walk, get away from everything for a couple hours and have true you time, or find a way to orchestrate that and get someone to watch your kids, or just tell people, like, I will be unavailable Sunday mornings from 6 a.m. till 9 a.m. So don't contact me. My phone's going to be on silent. I'm going out in nature. But finding that alone time, it will change your entire world. Like
100%. No, it changed mine. Trust me.
Yeah, I second that, Ross. That advice from a man who lives in a very busy household. I love my walks nowadays, brother. It used to be my PlayStation, and it takes different forms, various forms. But now I'm playing less games. I'm reading more. That does it. I used to stay up way late. Now I'm just waking up very early, and I get some time to read, meditate, exercise, and that's just Jordan time. It's before everybody else in the house is awake. So I agree, it's very important. I think that's good advice.
Yeah. I had another question. So when you were going through high school, I noticed the sports that you got into were all super violent. Where do you think
Yeah.
that came? Where do you think that choice came from? Were you guided into that? Were you unknowingly guided into that? Was that your body speaking? Was that something internal? An itch you needed to scratch? Was it your form of therapy? Like, what was the reason for choosing only shit that was aggressive?
I don't even know what got me into football, if I'm being honest. I think it was just friends were doing it, shit like that. And it was like the cool thing to do back then. It definitely turned into therapy, especially wrestling for me, because I mean, like, football I loved. And like, I think I became very obsessive with everything that I did. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just very extreme with the things I do. And I think that might have been a form of therapy, like me not without realizing it, right? Where like I would just go fucking heavy into, like, bro, when I've wrestled. Like, I literally did club, I did summer tournaments, I eat, sleep, and shit fucking wrestling. And it was like that with football first, right? Like, I literally, me and my ex-girlfriend had broke up one time when I was a freshman, the first girl that I was dating, literally because I wanted to stay in and I didn't want to go out to a party because I was a freshman and I had a football game that weekend and I was like the captain of the freshman football team, whatever the fuck it was. And she wanted to go out. So she went out and she cheated on me, or like got fingered or some shit at the party. I don't fucking remember. And that shit fucking hurt. And then, but that was from me being so one sided on fucking football, right? Like, I was just like, no, football, you can't go out. I can't drink. I can't party. I can't do anything. I gotta fucking be locked in my sports. So I was like that for most of high school, and literally like didn't go out too much. Like juniors, always in the off season summers, I would get fucking hammered, smoke some pot, like do the little things. But even then, I wasn't even a pothead at all. I was very, very, very hard out for fucking wrestling. So I think it might have just came from a form of therapy. Like, bro, I got that aggression out. You know what I mean? Like, all this shit that I couldn't put into my stepdad, I would put into that fucking mat. And it was nice. And I just loved it, bro. I love the feeling of wrestling. Like, when you're just fucking, like, you learn how to wrestle and you understand, like, the technique of it. Like, it was just fucking very intriguing to me. Very intriguing.
Makes sense. I got a question. I got two more that I feel like I should ask. The first one comes out of genuine curiosity because I love you and I love being a father. And I am a parent who very much at this stage in my life, along with my wife, prioritizes our home being a safe space for our children, right? So hearing you recount, and this was before you got physical with your stepdad, right? when he started abusing you physically. What were the thoughts going through your head as a 12, 13-year-old boy when a grown man was beating you physically, especially when you were in your safe place and you're 12 and 13? So what the fuck can I do to get out of here except call the police? Like, I'm curious about your thoughts because it's really abstract. For me, I grew up in the absence of a father, and hearing your story, it's like my mom always tells me she never dated because she was afraid of that situation for my brother and I.
Yeah.
So like an interesting perspective. Our mothers are very similar in a lot of ways, but I'm curious. Like, what were the thoughts going through your head in those moments? Like, I'm curious.
I thought there was no way out. Like literally it felt trapping. You know what I mean? Like, and I've done a lot of self work on this and like self thought on this. And it really did feel like there was no way out of that fucking house. Like it was one of the most defeating feelings I think you could go through. So like literally, yeah, dude, like I would be talking to my ex-girlfriends at the time. Like I had girlfriends at the time I was like fifth grade, bro. And I would just be fucking like talking to them on the phone, whatever. And then that would happen, and it was like I get my phone taken away, whatever. And it was like you're in jail. Like it literally felt like you were just trapped. And you're so young back then, like there's nothing that you could fucking do to get out of it, right? Like nothing.
Yeah.
So I think that's also when I fought him. In my mind, the only fucking choice was to kill him. You know what I mean? Like that was literally where my brain was at because it really was like, there's no getting out of this fucking house. There's no getting out of the situation. It's impossible. And yeah, so you basically have to learn how to deal with it. You know what I mean? You have to learn how to accept it, how to not piss them off, the whole nine. And then even then, still fucking happens. So yeah.
Which that's a crazy thing to think about for me. I have a 13-year-old, and we got it's a safe place here. There's a lot of love in our house. We're very close. We talk to our kids a lot, especially our teenager. And it's like to imagine my 13-year-old compartmentalizing something like that in her brain that's so undeveloped right now is just wild. And yeah, it's hard for me to understand, but hearing your perspective on it, yeah, it's amazing that you were able to get out of that and work through that, but also completely understandable how the visceral reaction came about because yeah, you're a prisoner, but it's worse than prison because you're a child and you can't understand shit at that age. Really? Like, why is this happening? The fuck? What did I do? I didn't do shit. So yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing that, bro.
Oh, 100%. And it was like, I'm very grateful that it happened. Like, extremely grateful that it happened. As fucked up as it was, like, you're supposed to go through shit like that. It's just meant to happen. Like, God doesn't give you a battle that you can't handle. So, obviously, we were meant to handle that battle. Same thing when my grandma got dementia. Same thing when my dad has Alzheimer's. We were meant to handle those battles. So, it's like, as shitty as it was back then, as much self work as I've had to do to get me out of it, look, if that didn't happen, something else would have. You know what I mean? We all have our own shit. We all have our own drama or trauma. And no matter what, something was going to happen. But I'm grateful it did because, as we always say, the depth of your struggle will lead to the height of your success. And you guys know my mindset with a lot of the shit that we deal with on a daily basis in business, trying to help other people, the whole nine. And thank God I did go through it, bro. Because like now going broke is gonna kill me. Like the fuck out of here, bro. Going for like someone yelling at me on the phones is gonna hurt me. Like that's why I've had such thick skin, and then that's why also sometimes I can't understand when people don't have that thick skin as I do, because it's like bro, just you're good. They told you to fuck off. Cool. Talk to the next person. What the fuck are you getting upset over? But maybe that's part of my journey too that I got to start understanding is like not everyone has had to deal with the shit I've had to deal with, and especially the bullying from. I mean, it wasn't just physical abuse; it was verbal abuse a lot, right? Like I was called a dumbass the entire time, a duck ass, like whatever fucking stupid shit came up in his brain. That's also why I curse so much, and that's probably something I should work on. Was he was a fucking truck driver, bro. Like he would curse for fucking everything. So seeing seeing that I had to go through all that stuff, I'm very grateful for it now. And it took me a long time to be here, but I'm very glad that it happened because now look at what the fuck I can do for other people. You know what I mean? And that shit's fucking dope. God put me on this earth to help a lot more people than just myself. And had I not gone through that shit, I would not. How can I help anybody? You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%, bro. Good perspective after that. All right, I got one more. And it's about Mama Bear. What are your thoughts, and like, how do you think now that you have the hindsight perspective and you can look back, like, how do you think your mom felt through all of that? And what do you think her perspective was being in that house and seeing the man that I assume she loved treating her children, whom she, it's crazy to say, right? Sure, you're not supposed to say this, but that she loved more. You're her kids. You came out of her womb, right? There's going to be a connection there. It's unexplainable. So, like, what do you think her perspective was, and what are your thoughts now, today, when you think back of how she felt going through all of that as well?
She was just trying to keep the family together. She was trying to give us a father figure in our life. That's part of why she fucking kept him around for so long. She also fucking thought he was bringing money to the table, and we were like, she was bringing in a good amount of money, but our property taxes were fucking ridiculously high. I mean, bro, we lived in like a beautiful, like 5,000 square foot fucking house.
Mm.
So like, it wasn't like we grew up like, bro. My dad back then, he had a business. He was fucking killing it before they got the divorce. So I think for 20 years, 18 years, she was trying to hold up that crop of cards, and she would do anything to keep that image together. Didn't want to lose that image of like that beautiful house because like, bro, my mom grew up in a two-family house. She didn't have money growing up. She fucking built everything with her own hands. So I think her just trying to keep it all together was part of it. And then I also think a lot of it was, bro, she was just so focused on fucking bringing in the money.
Yeah.
Like she couldn't, like, think about it. Like think about us throughout the week when like we're going through bad times in business. Like you don't think, like there's times where you don't think about anything else other than literally what's in front of you. And so she might have not seen a lot of it for a long time, and she didn't believe a lot of it either. When my sister came out when the diapers thing happened, she didn't believe her. And that killed my fucking sister. Like that literally, that was a very long, I'm sure my sister still heard about it, if I'm being honest. But by having that being a thing, um, I just like, bro, even to this day, she still justifies stuff with my stepdad, if I'm being honest. Like she hasn't done all the self work to fix that part. But the reason why I'm fully okay with it and understand everything is because, bro, my mom would take the shirt off her fucking back for us. Like my mom is literally one of the, like she fucking supported me before anyone in the business. She literally is one of those people that just like she did hold it all together. And even though it sucked at times, even though it was fucking hard as shit, like going through all that stuff, the whole nine, and there was parts where she took his side over ours, she was just blinded and didn't understand what was going on. And that's what made me have to understand the whole thing about it. And that's why I have forgiven her fully now. And our relationship's very good now. But it took a long time to get there. And trust me, fucking, when I was living in that house, there were times where me and her would get in screaming battles with each other and like fucking just violent screaming battles. And like I had a lot of anger towards her. I would scream at the top of my lungs at her, the whole nine. And it was bad for a while. So I think just having an understanding of her now and what she went through and how she still has her journey to get through as well, even though she's been out of it for years. I think she's been getting better and been going through it a lot more. And now she's my sister's baby to take care of. And she's the best grandma that that baby could have. Like literally fucking, she fucked up with us and is doing great with her. But she didn't fuck up with us because look at me now. I'm fucking, I'm living a beautiful life. So by going through all, they say good times create weak people create bad times, and bad times create strong people, and strong people create good times. And it couldn't be more fucking true. And that's why when I raise my kids, I'm terrified of raising them and coddling them too much. I need to make sure when I raise them that I'm not going to give them hard times, but they're going to have to work for what they get. They're not going to get handed everything, no matter how big I build this empire. That will never be a thing.
Yeah, I love it, bro. First of all, Major shout out to moms.
Yeah.
I can relate in a big way. I've been angry at my mother when I was younger as well. Different situation, but a lot of anger, a lot of pent up emotions. I just didn't understand it. And I do now that I'm aging, and I don't think I'm wise, right? But I've gained wisdom because I've thought about it a lot, and it seems you have too. And you got to give them grace because they're just human at the end of the day, doing the best that she could. I feel like I could confidently say, and I think you would agree, she did the best she could. And you just said it. Looking at you, what I know about you, brother, she did a damn good job. So shout out to her for that. And a quick side note, can't wait to meet your kids.
Couple years, Poppy. Couple years.
Couple of years, puppy. I'm just gonna bring up something because I think it needs to be talked about, and it's a good kind of way to somewhat close this out. And it's basically just identifying the cycle of abuse. So the cycle of abuse is pretty crazy, and most people don't know they're even in it. And essentially, this was written by a psychologist or identified by a psychologist, Lenore Walker, back in the day. And essentially, the first thing is tensions build. So there's tension buildup. And essentially, the abuser creates tension and the survivor's stress builds up. The second step or the second phase of this cycle is there is an incident. So the abuser lashes out, and that's through physical, verbal, psychological, sexual, any sort of abuse tactics to dominate. It's all about actually control, believe it or not. The third part in the cycle is reconciliation. So that's when the abuser makes excuses or attempts to apologize for the incident, and then they start gaslighting and basically downplay things like nothing happened, we're fine, right? And then finally, there is calmness. This is also known as the honeymoon phase, where things seem peaceful, maybe even better than they were before. But often this doesn't last long before the cycle begins again, and then tension builds. So tension, the incident, reconciliation, calmness, and then the incident again. And it's just over and over and over again. What this psychologist didn't bring up was this. This cycle of abuse, when you live through it enough, when you're out of that finally, you have a very high percentage of victimizing yourself in the same cycle and turning the sword inward. Tension builds. There's some sort of incident. You lash out. Then you're kind of downplaying things, making excuses. It's all good. Then there's calmness. Tension builds again, right? Incident, reconciliation, finally calmness. So these peaks and valleys are part of life. But when it gets that bad and you're noticing patterns like this, just know that you're doing it to yourself. And I think the sooner you can become aware of these things, the faster you can start labeling it, catching yourself mid-drift, and getting out of it. And guys are known for self-sabotage and victimizing themselves. So that's something that people don't talk about enough. And that's why these ride or die friends, I think, are the most important to have, because they'll notice when you don't, and they'll call you out on your shit when they hear the same excuses over and over again, and they can see you falling into a downward spiral, which is a cycle of abuse, but it's turning that sword against yourself. So knowing this, you can turn the sword outward and get the hell out of that mess. So I think it's important to know about that cycle of abuse.
100%, bro.
Yeah.
And it obviously happens at many points in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. But we out of it now, boys. Could say that much.
Better times are ahead, and life would be super boring if all this shit didn't happen.
Oh, it'd be super fucking boring.
Absolutely.
I've been in heaven since I fucking got out of that house. And I think for years I didn't realize it, but I'm definitely starting to realize it. Like literally every day of my life is fucking heaven now. It's like I don't have to deal with that anymore. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to go to bed, and I think that led to the insomnia too. Was just going to bed not right. At times I would wake up getting water thrown on me. You know what I mean? Like literally, I can sleep at peace now. I can be good now, and that's a fucking beautiful place to fucking be in. 100%.
And literally in heaven and married heaven. A lot of heaven going on.
Whole lot of heaven going on, boys.
Had to throw in some literalisms. A lot of heaven.
Yeah, dude, it's a fucking blessing.
I love it, man.
Excellent. Well, I've said my part. You kind of heard how I'm closing it out on my end, so I'm going to shut the fuck up. Jordan, what you got? And Joey, why don't you say the last words?
Man, it is more transparency, please. That's a PSA to the entire planet. Every human being that is old enough to have conscious thoughts, just more transparency, please, because I feel like among us as friends, it's incredibly bonding, but among us as individuals, it's incredibly healing. Just talking all of this shit out and being heard and listened to and seen. So yeah, I just appreciate you both for sharing across these couple episodes. I appreciate the opportunity to do so myself, and I'm grateful to be here at this season for y'all's journey, and grateful for y'all here in mine. Grateful to just have a season and a journey and to still be on it. It's pretty beautiful, man. I love it.
Fuck yeah, 100%. And look, I'm grateful for you guys being here late at night, letting me share my story. I don't think I've shared this ever to most people. I am an open book when it comes to this stuff. So those of you guys listening, if anyone ever needs help getting through anything, I'm always here for you guys, 100%. And just understand, we all got our own shit going on. Like every single one of us. If you see someone with a big ass smile on your face, it doesn't mean they don't got their own demons as well. But that also means that because we all have our own shit going on, stop bitching about your shit. Stop fucking feeling sorry for yourself because someone next to you probably has it just as bad, if not worse. And you could play the blame game or the compare game or any of it, but it's not going to get you anywhere. You can think you have it worse than everybody, but you don't. So just make sure that you guys hear this story and don't use this as like, oh my God, poor Joey. It isn't poor me, guys. God gave me all these battles for a reason. I got through them. I'm living through it. And now we're fucking here and I could fucking help you guys as well. So just make sure you guys keep some positive energy, find your own peace, and understand if you've already gone through it, you gotta stop the pain. You already went through it. It's over. Stop fucking living in it. The longer you live in it, the longer you're going to be miserable, the more anxiety you're going to have, the more depression you're going to have, the more self-sabotage you're going to do, and it's not going to do anything for your life positively. So start understanding that everything in life comes down to one decision. And that decision is, do I look at things that happen to me and look at them as if it's a bad thing and look at them negatively? Or do I understand everything happens for me and it's a positive thing and I can learn a lesson from anything that's happening? So that choice is up to you guys. I leave that decision up to everybody here. But that decision really is the control you have. Do not focus on things that are out of your control. Focus on things that are in your control, and you're going to live a hell of a lot more at peace. So, boys, I think we're done sharing enough about our personal lives. Not going in the past anymore for the rest of our lives. Now we're just going forward. We're going to take this podcast and fucking show people what they can do, show people how positive thinking can help them, and just show people how fucking they can change their lives too, as long as they just use what's up here and stop being a little bitch and getting the fuck out of their comfort zones. Thanks for coming on today, boys. Thanks for listening, everybody. And peace the fuck out, guys. Go have a go week and a go weekend.